Growing up, I never felt like I had any handicap, just because I had a strong upbringing, and I was raised to believe that I could do anything I set my mind to. And I didn't know what the plan was for my life until I got into wrestling at age 14, and then I just fell in love with the sport, and it consumed me for 9 years after that. I was born in La Mirada, California, raised in California up until I was 14. We moved to Arizona to help start a church. We moved out to Mesa, and that's when I started wrestling at Mesa Junior and then Mesa High School.
When he wanted to do wrestling, I was like, okay, Anthony's going to figure this out, and I know, if this is what he really likes, what he wants to do, he's going to be the best at it, and that's exactly what he did. I don't see him as having a disability. I see Anthony as missing a leg.
Coach Williams really developed my style of wrestling. When I first got to him, I stood up, so I was taken down easily. So he was the one who came up with dropping down to my stance and staying low and on my knee. I actually fought him for a while on it. I didn't like the position, but every time I stood up, he'd yell at me and make me do push-ups. So he mentally broke me into continuing and dropping on my knee.
We did quite a bit of work with Anthony in trying to develop his style. Coming in with one leg, the balance was different, the movement was different. It was a lot of trial and error, and Anthony, the big thing about Anthony, he was coachable. He listened, and he wasn't afraid to try anything. And we had several errors along the way, but we learned from him, we got better, and he really developed an extremely effective style. The other wrestlers knew what was coming, but it didn't matter. He was so good at what he did that he was able to overcome their defense.
So we're going to focus on your strengths, camouflage your weaknesses, and we're going to come up with your style. And that's what we did.
He developed, and by his sophomore year, he was 6th in state. And then he came back as undefeated his junior and senior year to be a state champion both those years.
Coming out of high school, I won senior nationals, but I wasn't highly recruited by Division I schools. I knew I wanted to go Division I just because that's where the elite were, and I wanted to beat the best of the best so I could be at the top. And there was only 2 schools that even showed any interest, and that was Drexel in Philadelphia and Arizona State.
We called him, brought him to Arizona State, despite a lot of naysayers who said I was told by experts of wrestling that he wouldn't be able to compete in Division I wrestling.
I went through a coaching change right after my sophomore year. I had developed a strong bond with Coach Ortiz. I loved him. But a new coach coming in, I didn't know what to think. But I can remember the first day of practice, Coach Charles walked in and he had the team sit down, and he just said, I've been to where you guys want to go. I've been to the national finals. And he said, just picture you're trying to get to your goal, and in order to get there, there's a bunch of landmines. He said, wouldn't you rather follow someone who's been through the landmines so you can avoid the hardships? And so he said that, and I immediately knew I can roll with this guy.
From the first day that I got here at Arizona State, we were out running some stadiums. We were out running, 3 miles on the track. My first thing was, Anthony, you don't have to do the running part of this because, obviously is one leg. He says, no, coach, I do everything everyone else does.
People see me as handicapped, or see me as I couldn't compete with everybody else, and they really had low expectations of me. So when I did go through those times when practice was hard, or mentally I just started to wear out, I would think about that and just think that if I stopped, I'd be proving everybody right, and I would be just living down to their expectations. And so that really it lit the fire under me to continue on. And people say there's a debate that I have an advantage, I had a disadvantage missing my leg. And in a way I did have an advantage because mentally it made me want it more. And mentally I felt like I had to fight over a lot more obstacles to get to what I wanted.
Anthony Robles has shown us that impossible is nothing. Anthony Robles is a national champion.
Three-time All-American and NCAA champion, Anthony Robles.
Church has always been a big part of my life, our family's life. Our faith is the center of our family, and that's what's gotten me through a lot. And my mom always told me that God made me this way for a reason, and I believe that reason was first to wrestle.
I wanted to raise my kids a certain way, and I knew it was the right way. And I've seen the benefits of it all. I've seen how Anthony is. I've seen the young man that he is, and I attribute that all to a strong faith that he also has.
I always believed that I could always I could be a state champion, I could be a national champion in both high school and college. And really, that factor of having a missing leg or being the first person to do it with the missing leg didn't affect me at all. I wasn't out there to accomplish that goal. My main goal was to be a national champion, was to be a state champion, and nothing else. And I wouldn't accept anything else but the championship. And so really, it just propelled me through. I think what did help me, what gave me that drive was whenever I was out there on the mat in practice or in the match, I forgot about everything else. It was just about me and my opponent and coming out on top. And wrestling, it just it became my sanctuary.
When you see the kind of attention that Anthony Robles has gotten, the kind of hope that people have from being able to watch this young man wrestle, it gives them hope in a lot of things, not just in wrestling, but just in life. You know, his determination, his focus, his willingness to go out there and try against all odds to be successful, that gives everybody hope.
We all have those challenges. You know, there's always going to be the hard times. No one has it easy, no matter who you are. You just got to do the best of what you got. You know, and that's one of the big things wrestling taught me. Do the best of what you have. No one has the same advantages, has the same strengths. We all have different weaknesses. We all have things that can hold us back, that can cause us to lose. It's just about going out there with what you have and scrapping till the end. To receive the Medal of Courage from the Hall of Fame, it's a huge honor. I mean, I can't describe it. It's right up there with winning that national title.